Hi everyone, welcome back to Drinks at Dana's. I'm Ash Silver and I'm here with Chris and Jess from the L Word Online, and we're back this week to discuss episode 3 of season 3 of the L Word Generation Q quiz show, even though there was no quiz show in this episode. So that is the least of our problems this week, so we'll just move on by and get into talking about the episode. How are you guys this week?
It's been a week, yeah.
It's been a week.
I didn't know it was called quiz show. That makes absolutely zero sense.
Yeah. Well, it's the first episode ever not to begin with an L. The first episode ever to not feature Jennifer Beals. And Jennifer Beals is no longer being billed as an executive producer.
I noticed.
Which I think
says
a lot.
Out of a peace out, bro, out of everything.
Yeah. So, will we start at the top of the episode?
Yeah, which actually kind of starts at last week's ending of the episode.
Yeah, I was wondering about the ambulance scene. Remember, we thought it was going to be cut, but it's actually in it.
Yeah, because that divulges into, well, I'll save it for later, but the timeline has already been absolutely fucked. It's been several days, it's been several months, all at the same time. So yeah, we start off with Gigi and Nat 2 seconds in, and
I don't know how Nat got there that fast. That was weird. Normally you rush to the hospital if somebody calls you as your emergency contact. Someone's been in an accident, come to this and this hospital. You don't go, hey, come to the ambulance.
And also, wasn't Bette just confessing her love because there was insane traffic? So how does she get there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe it was unrelated.
I forgot about that part.
And I thought the whole scene lacked a kind of emergency about it. Because at one point they just left her alone in there, Dani came in and then she left and then she was just there by herself. There's no paramedic attending to her or anything. It's just, she's just laying there. I'm like, all right, I guess she's fine.
I probably will use this line several times, but we do have bigger problems this week. But
I should take a drink now every time you say that. My notes literally just say in giant capital letters, "Oh, come on with that kiss." I was like, what?
What did she just get pushed into her by the
the paramedic? But it was so awkwardly on
sorry,
purpose.
it just fell on your lips.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what? Come on. But I'm like, way to write off the entire Ginny relationship in one scene.
Oh no, it got firebombed the rest of it.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they had just written it off there, because that's the way this writing team seems to go. But it's actually got several other scenes with these characters together.
Yeah, they actually tried to wrap it up, even though they didn't really. But they gave it a red hot go.
I was quite surprised to see so much of Gigi in this episode. Actually,
that's kind of the thing, because if you looked at this episode and didn't kind of look at what actually happened, if you just looked on the basis of we got these scenes with these people, I would have been quite happy if this was the same situation. Jennifer Beals wasn't going to be on the show. This was going to be the first episode without her. And pretty much her screen time was filled up with Gigi scenes, especially with the last 2 weeks. Now, what happened in those Gigi scenes, I hated. But if it wasn't what was going to happen, then it would have been a great direction for the show to go in, because you would have had Gigi at the front and center, as we've been saying, the only person who could lead this show and have the same charisma and everything like that, chemistry, to possibly fill that spot. But they decided to go in the complete opposite direction.
Yep. And literally, if you took out all of the Gigi and Dani scenes, this was my favorite episode by far. I loved it. Yeah. I loved every other bit except for Dani and Gigi.
I know a lot of people, the dislike for this episode is coming from the Gigi stuff and what they did to Gigi, because I did like that. I think Alicia Haley is brilliant. She's clearly the star of the show now, and that stuff with Alice, Alice being a talk show host, that was genius. That is what people want to see more, but that kind of got overpowered by the Gigi stuff. And lots of people, because obviously I'm talking about this incessantly, and I talk to lots of different people, and most people who were like older fans of the original show seem to have liked everything else in the episode, like with Alice and all of that. But yeah, I understand why people can't get past the Gigi stuff, because that was just obviously so horrendous.
I didn't dislike it at all.
Oh, really? This is so interesting.
So you liked all of the Gigi and Dani stuff?
Yes. Is this
God,
like
Jess.
Is this like when
Lord.
people
Put Jess in witness protection.
so confused? Like, is this like when people hated Jenny just because they made Jenny crazy? But like, Mia Kirshner's freaking fantastic, and Sepida is like fantastic too. I mean, I loved everything, every scene she was in. I was totally cool with all of it, and she redeemed Nat for me. Kind of like I couldn't stand Dani before. Once Dani was with Gigi, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she's not so bad. I couldn't stand Nat in the previous seasons. And all of a sudden, this episode, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she's not so bad. Nat and Gigi, like, I can see it. Sure, let's do that.
I totally felt that too. Like, I feel like they kind of gave her a character shift or something. Like, and she looked different. She looked hotter, I felt.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, Gigi looks good.
Too, so
I mean,
like,
Nat looks good. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah. I was down with it. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Break up with Dani. Get back with Nat. I'm cool. Let's do it. Just stay.
I've never had a problem with Nat, but obviously, like, I really like Dani and Gigi, and Gigi's like, I mean, after Bette's obviously like my favorite, but Gigi is pretty up there, and I think that she's a great character as well as being played by a great actress, and just seeing, I just feel as though they built this relationship like over the end of the season, and you had not only the thing that was really great about Dani and Gigi too is like, obviously they had the chemistry, they had the casting, they had everything was great. People loved it. They were super popular. And also you had two actors that seemed to be very, very genuine about their passion for the show, and like, you know, they seem to be loving that, like what was happening with the characters, and you know, they're all over social media and stuff. And I think that also taps into the thing that both those actors were fans of the show previously, and they know, I don't know, they just played everything really well, like on the screen, off the screen, and doing like a little bit of publicity for the show too. And I feel as though this entire episode, they just like turned around and were like, nah. And like,
yeah, I just underwrote what they'd written so far.
Yeah, by like turning Dani into like this, I don't know, like, I mean, I'll talk about it in the later scenes, but just even the thing with the emergency contact, I felt like saying, you're a grown woman. If I was dating someone who had an ex-wife and kids, and who is updating their emergency contact, like it's not a priority. So I it wouldn't be something that I'd show up and be like aggressive about, like, or if Nat turned up at my house, I wouldn't be like, what are you doing here? Like, it's just,
yeah, you'd be like, hi Nat, how you going?
I don't think that's out of character for Dani. I think that's who Dani has always been.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like she was less so though. Like,
yeah, I feel like a year with Gigi.
Yeah.
Would have.
At the end of last season, it seemed like, oh, Gigi's really good for Dani and she's maturing and stuff. And they kind of seem to do away with all that from the first episode of this season and have this like kind of petty, I don't know, I want to say immaturity, but I think it's just part of Dani's like kind of closed off nature, where she's like quick to cut and run. Like, yeah, and not to show that like any vulnerability.
Yeah, I mean,
she was definitely quick to cut and run in this episode.
Like, it's easier, I think, for her to get angry and show that than to show like a sadness or vulnerability.
Yeah,
hurt.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, I say this about all the Elwood characters, but please go to therapy. You can be healed too. Look what it did for Bette.
Yay! Therapy, non-therapy. Everyone should go to the silent retreat.
I've been on the Bette therapy train for 20 years. we'll get more into that towards the end.
We finally get Alice back at work, but we've been asking
that
for.
It was nice to see her. And Sophie.
Yeah, Alice and Sophie back at work. It's like she does have a job that she goes to. Like I kind of miss the studio.
And apparently has done 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you work that out, Ash?
Yeah. Alice's episode count is the least of my problems, but yeah. We were getting cancelled in season 1.
Makes sense because I'm like 100 episodes for like a scripted show is usually like 5 years.
Yeah,
but 100 episodes on a talk show is like a year. Like a third of a year or something. Like I'm like, do you not do like 5 shows a week? Like I'm confused.
Maybe it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday type thing.
It's like half a year. Like. Yay, 6 months! I'm like, I'm so confused.
Has the whole show only been running 6 months?
Too many timelines. Too many. I do also have a theory now that we're now in an alternative time branch from the original. Yeah. When Bette left the show.
I was gonna say, at what point did it split when Bette left the show?
Tell us all your sci-fi theories.
I did like the Alice at work stuff because that's what I've wanted, and I think again that like Leisha Haley is brilliant. The whole Alice thing, it works because you are bringing in like Sophie, and I wish they would give Finley her job back because that's another way to bring her in. And that's what you want. My friend Jess from Hot Takes and Deep Dives, the podcast that's been on my channel, we call the bungalow with the Gen Q people like the House of Depression. So I don't want to be in the House of Depression. I want to be on Alice's set. That's when I like the Gen Q stuff, and I think it works. Like,
yeah,
I don't want it like shoved down my throat about you need to care about these people now as much as you cared about the OGs, because I don't. But when they're at work, I can get on board, I can like them, and I think that it just flows easily. It's not forced or anything.
Yep, and we're now introduced to Taylor, who I felt
good.
like
I just keep calling her Joey Lauren Adams.
That's what I keep calling her too.
I only know because I have my closed captions turned on and they actually write her name before she speaks.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh cool, I know her name. But I was like, that was a cute first meeting. I liked it.
She was like cute and awkward, which is like kind of like Alice herself. So
yeah, she is Alice before Alice was famous.
Yeah,
I liked her on the show. And another plug is, if you haven't seen Chasing Amy in a while, that movie is, I didn't know this until Jess told me, is like based on Guinevere Turner, from the writer from season 1 of the L Word, life or friendship with so it's crazy interesting, and it's a good movie with Joey Lauren Adams, so check it out. But yeah, I really like Joey Lauren Adams. I think it was good casting, and her and Leisha I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there.
I know, I was like giddy excited that she's finally met someone that I feel like she'll gel well with.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look doomed from the beginning kind of thing. So, like, and it looks fun and happy and not, like, weird and dark like all some of the other relationships.
Basket of pencils from Tom.
Oh, yeah, we did get the throwaway line there.
Yeah, we know Tom still exists.
I'm sure we'll get some sort of resolution there in the future, maybe.
True L-Word style. They love wrapping up their storylines.
We'll see Tom again.
Finley, who's applying to school, which was not something I saw for her, but is something I love for her.
Mm-hmm. And then muscling, rippling Shane walks in with
hello.
Yeah. I knew you too.
You know this?
You too.
I know Shane was this ripped because yeah, that was nice.
It's like, this scene is for Chris and Jess.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. I was like,
I just like seeing, honestly, Shane and Finley together again.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I love them together. They're equally funny and like they play off each other.
Shout out to M. Weinstein, who directed this episode. This scene was their idea and they just like put it in for fun.
Yeah, it was a good idea because it was awesome.
I like when they have fun with things. And And again, poor Finley, which I feel like I say in every single episode, for busting open the pipes.
Oh, yeah.
She's always like just trying her hardest and something goes wrong. Then Tess comes in like a disapproving mom.
I cannot get on board with this. Like, why are they making Tess into like... Tess should be like a fun character. Like, I just don't like the way they always have her. Like, and also what, like every time her and Shane are together, they're like, I don't know, fighting.
It just gave me very much like still boss co-worker vibes. Like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just like, the other way around. Yeah, but I still felt like they don't feel like they're in a relationship. They don't feel right. There's no chemistry in that romance department. I don't feel.
Or they just feel like an old married couple who's been in a relationship too long and lost the spark, and it's all.
I know that usually like people don't write this way, but on a TV show, especially one that's in its third season, like the whole point is that you know the actual like actors and like can play to their strengths and things like that, because you know if it's someone like Bette Porter, the way they write that character is based on like so much other stuff. It's not just like, oh, I want to move this character from point A to point B. But when you have literally Queen Jamie Clayton on set and she is so awesome and nice and life of the party, and then you just have Tess like marching in and being like, oh, what are you doing? She doesn't seem to be having any fun. Tess doesn't have any fun, and it's the L word. So
yeah, I feel like they're wasting her.
I do not like the storyline. Well, the 20 years of Shane gets in a relationship, Shane cheats, Shane gets in a relationship, Shane cheats. Like there's an episode of Pants like really early on. I think it was actually even during the season 1 and 2 hiatus, so it's probably way back on my channel, like 800 views or something. But Kate said in one of the clips, like I think it was when she went in to like start talking about Gen Q, and they all kind of, I think it was when Leisha was like, oh, because she gave that idea, like Alice should be a talk show host, and Kate basically said like, please just don't make it like Shane's like a late 40s early 50s year old version of what Shane was in 2004 through 9.
I don't know, I like Shane. I like this Shane.
No.
Yes, I like this Shane. I was like, yeah, she's back.
No. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Gigi's at home and Dani's getting ready to leave, and she calls Nat over.
I know this is really superficial to say, but when we had that Gigi at home, like at Dani's house, because I don't think they've moved in together, or no, maybe they did, because I don't know, but we didn't see it, and this is where we get the time drop.
Oh yeah,
too. So
5 days have passed.
So the first thing is, it is a crime that this, it's a crime that this is, Seppi's last episode, point blank period. 2, that they have put like a massive abrasion on her forehead. Why are we doing this on the last episode? To perfect face. And then
make it look like she had a car accident.
I know it would require an extra little neuron of thinking, but they could have had her have like a broken arm or something. But then Nat comes in. Dani is like so rude and like, what are you doing here? I just like, Dani grew up in this like environment of like uber wealthy people and stuff, and the one thing that is like beaten into you is manners above all else. And I just don't think that I just didn't like that, the way, like, why would she say, what are you doing here? Like, she's obviously here to see Gigi too. I do think she was trying to hide it though, because why, when she's telling her this guy will be here at 3, why wouldn't Gigi have just said, hey, I'm gonna drive with Nat, because like she'll be here in 1 second. So that, I don't know whether that was just like intentional or what, because it was weird. And they did have the time drop here. So if you don't care about timelines, skip forward 1 minute, because I need to rant. After these past 2 years that I've had my channel, I have offered my services for free. No one wants them. Alicia and Kate the other day in their podcast were like, oh, we really want to know like how people are, you know, finding the episodes. We want to see the reception, blah, blah, blah. I've offered Showtime, and I sent them an email saying, you can have access to my analytics that have 1 million L-word people coming through it a month. You can, as I showed you guys, you can see in our episode what people are doing. If people are skipping the bits that we're talking about, like, I don't know, Micah and Maribel, this, like, literally people would kill for this type of analytics on shows, marketing, whatever. The timeline thing is just something that frustrates me so much, because in episode 1, we have Angie moving into college, which is August. Like, that happens in August in the US, in California.
Yeah.
Point blank period.
Yes.
Episode 2 starts within the same second as episode 1 ends. We have Bette and Tina sleep together, fucking finally, and then we wake up the next day and they're at Dana's. So 2 days have passed. Then that second day, we are led to believe, is the 22nd of September, judging by the Marcus Allenwood exhibit. And the fact that Tina keeps saying, tomorrow I have to go back, and then it's today I have to go back. So
and that was on Gigi's phone as well, the date.
Yeah, 2 days and 2 months have gone by simultaneously in episodes 1 and 2. Episode 2 ends with the same second that episode 3 does, because we know Bette's just had her big declaration, the traffic, Gigi's accident. Then we get this time drop after the credits that it's been 5 days. So it has been 1 week, and yet it has also been almost 3 months, because we're led to believe it's still the end of September, start of October in this episode, and then next week it's going to be Halloween. So, guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
And later in this episode, it's Angie's like first day of school.
That's the bit I left out. And then it's the first day of Angie's college, where she moved in August, she stayed the night in September, and she started class in October, and it's been a week, but it's been 3 months. Pick one. Has it been a week or 3 months?
Yeah, and 1 week would be believable, because you can move into college, but then like your classes don't start for a week or whatever.
Yeah. But 3 months is not believable.
So is it really that whole, like, I mean, not counting tomorrow's episode, because, I mean, next week's episode, because they can do a whole another time jump there. But just with what we know right now, I suppose if you took Marcus Allenwood's September 22nd exhibit out of it,
and the phone
like
date,
a week, as far as they've told us for everything else.
It feels more like it's happened, consecutive days, and it's only been like a week.
So, like, maybe they just screwed up with the dates
I think
on
they
the art
might have
exhibit.
done that. And the phone.
The thing is, this happened. So if you go back to, because I actually have, you know, in December I release a video every day. I'm actually releasing a video that's like about the Bette and Tina timeline and when they got divorced, because I think I figured it out. But so I had to go back to season 1 of Gen Q, and what they used to do in season 1, because I'm assuming they filmed it over this, they started in July and I think they finished in like November, and then it aired in December, but I don't think that while they were shooting they were like clear on the dates. So they like when Shane gets her birthday text or like other things happen with phones, they just remove the dates completely. That takes me out of it a bit. I don't know, I'm always kind of like interested in that stuff. And so in season 2, when they did it, then I was like, oh no, what are we doing? Because I'm sure you remember my many rants about the timeline. And that's when I first of all was like, guys, I can help you, please. But because every TV show I've ever worked on has someone who it's not like just they're the keeper of the timeline, but they also have, like, they will be that person that sits on set and says, hey, you picked up your coffee with your left hand, and you know, you had like it up to, you know, this amount. For people listening, I'm like demonstrating, but it's just,
could it have,
why don't they have someone doing this? Jesus,
continuity is really not that hard, but there's always someone in charge of it on every show. It's not like,
it's not a new concept by any means,
but could it have been somehow they have shot these later and somehow had to, because Jennifer's leaving, had to reshuffle everything and move things around. And so that's why the timeline is so screwed up.
I mean, I know people a lot of the time when they, especially when the stuff with Tina wasn't so solid, when people were like, oh, they should just shoot Laurel scenes all at once. And I know that the three of us like have worked on this stuff. Like, you know, Chris, you're on sets all the time too. Like you know what's going on behind the scenes. Like most people don't, because why would they have an understanding of how big TV shows are, how expensive they are, what it is like orchestrating like a whole filming thing. It's not as easy as being like, oh, we'll just shoot all Laurel scenes in 1 week. Like they would need an entire budget and people to do that. And it just, I know that they shot pretty much in order. They were always shooting at 2 episodes at the one time, so like 1 and 2 and then 2 and 3, because they basically this big gap that we have with Jennifer Beals and Laurel Holloman now is basically summer, like the end of summer, start of fall in the real world, because like Laurel was at the show in London when I met her, and you know, Jennifer from social media, she was out and about too, so and shooting Luckiest Girl. I don't think that it's anything like that, because I'm pretty sure that they just shot these in a row, and I know they shot 2 at the same time as 3 as well, because the actor, they were finishing up some of 2 when I think it was 4 shot, because the actor who is playing that Roxy character in the Halloween episode, the one that Demi Lovato was supposed to play, they actually met Jennifer Beals. They did like an interview where they talked about it last night, and you know, like obviously Jennifer Beals isn't in 3 and 4, so there must have been some overhang.
Yeah, let's agree that timeline is a shit show.
Yeah. And I know I've seen other podcasts talk about it. I've seen other articles about it. So it's like, it's not just us that noticed. Like everyone's noticed.
It's like they wrote each character separately and like gave a timeline to each character and then like put them all in the same episode together. And now each character's storyline or timelines of their story like don't match up.
Everyone is existing on a parallel dimension.
Yeah,
all simultaneously happening at once. We just happen to get the one where Dani and Gigi break up, but in another one they're not.
Yeah, because Angie wasn't like really in this episode much. It dropped this professor stuff and like get more like Uncle Shane and Aunt Alice thing. Like that's fun to watch, you know.
That's about the only time I'm interested in Angie is like when she's interacting with her parents or Shane and Alice. Like I was never the girlfriend thing. I didn't care about.
Yeah, on her own. On her own.
Dating guys thing. I don't care about.
Yeah.
Same.
That's why I'm like, if they just had Finley go to college with her immediately, it would have been so much more fun.
Let's write that.
Yeah, I would watch that. That would be fun. Because then the two sort of could merge, the Gen Qs and the OGs via Angie.
Yeah. Especially since Angie somehow feels more mature than Finley a lot of the time.
Like they could have had one whole episode be Angie having like a drunken night, like, oh, things go wrong and need help, and it's all happening in one night, and Shane and Alice have to come in, and there's like drunken dorms and like,
oh my god, that would be so funny. Alice and Shane at the dorm. Oh
that,
my god,
the whole episode would have taken place in one night, kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, see, immediately I came up with it in 5 seconds.
And some of the kids could have been like, "Aren't you Ellen?" to Alex.
But they brought the OG chart back. I liked that.
Yes,
and it was the actual OG chart.
Yeah, I got to see that when I was on set.
Oh, you're on set. Gotta take a drink.
Yeah, I put like a little clip in my video of
but you're gonna say you added yourself to the chart.
Yeah, with a big Sharpie when I was in there.
You won't notice.
And then Ash.
Yeah, I got to, it's crazy the detail that they go into in like Alice's office. If you want to see, all the crazy detail, it's on my channel in my video. All those posters and things, like they all have like names of like people who worked on the show, and
yeah, they do that all the time with those those big billboards out the front of Alice's that show other shows. The graphic designers always put other people's names in the show from the crew.
It's cool. It's cool.
We kind of saw that when Oz and I went to
we did
a lifetime ago. Like we saw the chart, and
we saw Alice's,
apartment, right?
Yeah, we were in Alice's apartment. Yeah, where she had the shrine to Dana.
Yeah.
And we were like, we didn't even know at that point about it. We were like,
what is season 3.
And they were like, nothing, you didn't see anything. And they should like ushered us out of the room. And we were like, what was that?
Like, take in everything you can.
Do you know what
the shrine to Dana?
The funniest thing about all of like the whole thing, I mean, with you guys going to set in season 3, with me going to Gen Q in season 3, is that they're always like, oh yeah, you didn't see this, or you don't know about this, and it's like, I want to see it because it's cool to see, but dude, like people are like giving us the scripts, like we don't need to see something to get information. It cracks me up. And I mean, there's some stuff that you know and learn and see from being there, but most of the majority of stuff comes from like other information sources.
Let's be honest, it's not that difficult to figure out if you follow as much television as we do. You can connect those dots pretty easily.
Their season trailer pretty much gave everything away already.
Yeah.
Like all the important parts that have happened, chain cheating, all that sort of stuff. Right. It's all in the original trailer. I'm like, yeah, we knew this already. This is not a surprise.
There's some people that don't like to know. Then it's like, don't watch anything, don't listen.
Don't go on the internet.
Yeah,
that was me yesterday. I like pulled open my Facebook and all this stuff about the episode was already like everywhere, and I was like, oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that's like Grey's Anatomy. If I really don't want to know what happened, I like won't go on social media because it airs at like 3 a.m. UK, and I'll normally watch it like when I get up. But if I wake up and go on Twitter, I normally get spoiled, so I won't do that. But you always have people like saying, oh, you shouldn't say this or shouldn't say that. Like the whole deal is like, I'm an L-word news thing, like talk about the whole that's what my whole thing is. But if you don't want to know, then just don't watch me. I can't control what other people do either.
So now we're back at next door to Dana's, and the plumber walks in, and the first thing I thought was like, is that Tina? I'm like, how does the plumber look like Tina for a second?
She's a butch Tina. She's a butch Tina.
And like she was like looking up or something, and it was like the profile and the hair color, and I'm like, is that Tina? And then she like looked right, and I'm like, oh, I see. I definitely see the result. It was totally giving me like Incredibly True Adventures of Two Girls in Love vibes. I'm like, you can see.
Lots of people were saying that on social media.
It's the woman you were talking about who had to cut her hair for the role or something. Yeah,
she's friends with Marja. Actually, I think I left her a comment or something. She posted about the L word, and I said like, oh, welcome to the show, and she started following me yesterday. So I'm pretty sure that I was sure of this before, but now I'm like confident that there's going to be like some sort of like butch sex scene in episode 7 with her and Rosie at the bowling alley, because there's a big...
I'm just glad that Carrie's back. I love her.
I know.
Love how she was used in this episode. I loved everything about it. Yes.
I was like thinking about it earlier though, but like I was like, old L word that had lots of Bette and Tina would have left Carrie out, but now they're trying to fill like the gaps. I feel like they brought her back because it's really strange that they like, she's one of the only besides Lauren Lee Smith's character, what was her character's name?
Lara.
Her and a few other characters are the only ones they like dropped off and disappeared, and then they brought them back for out of nowhere because Terry has no ties to anyone right now, and they just suddenly she appeared. She's
another one that doesn't make sense because Tina in season 1 said she was moving to LA with Carrie, and they were going to come to LA for Angie, and then they come to LA, and then what? Like, why is Carrie still here?
Did she move back? But at what point did she move back? When they broke up?
I don't think she ever really moved to LA.
I think she was like moving, like living like half and half.
Maybe she had never actually finally moved there.
Yeah, because
maybe Carrie just liked LA better.
Yeah, but it is weird because she's supposed to be a lawyer, so like, you know, you can't just willy-nilly be like, oh, I'm gonna go like you have to like take like the state bar or whatever.
She already had a bar card for...
Listen, I need accuracy. I need accuracy.
We don't know. Maybe she lived there when she was younger and kept up with her.
Maybe she...
I need to see her license. I need to see her license.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I like the Finley and Carrie scenes. I also was a bit confused because in season 2, they make it seem like Carrie is in Overeaters Anonymous, but now she's an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I know. So it's like, was she just lying about that? Like everyone thought she was?
Yeah,
or...
she was.
Yeah. Okay, so Dani and Gigi and Nat have a scene where Dani is like seeding Gigi and Nat at Alice's show.
It's funny because like Dani's very like, oh, do you need anything, Gigi? Can I get you anything, Gigi? Do you want a drink, Gigi? And Nat's like, yeah, I'll take some. Oh, but no, okay, I'll just get it myself, I guess. And Dani's like, then brings her a whole bottle of champagne. I love the way she just handed it to her. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a good passive aggressive.
Yeah, it was.
Gigi and Nat sat on the couch being all cute. I was like, if this were in any other setting, if this was a romantic comedy movie, if this was a different TV show, I would be like, this is such a cute scene with the two of them.
That's why I said I kept going back and forth from scene to scene of who I was in favor of. And I was like, again, the whole thing with them sitting on the couch. I did. I loved it.
Yeah, they gelled really well, and like they were cute, and she was funny, and she had the straw and the champagne and everything. And I'm like, if this was in any other movie or TV show, then, but no, in this.
Yeah, it was good banter. Yeah.
I have to interject here because I'm sitting here in my Dani and Gigi t-shirt for anyone who's listening and not watching, and I do like Nat. I do like Gigi and Nat. When even in season 1, like the thruffle, whatever you want to call them, scene from episode 4 of season 1, LA Times, is like one of the best scenes from the show, and like the three actors, well, they're all great actors as well, but I have a problem because they've had Dani and Gigi, you know, building together for a few episodes in season 2, and then the end of season 2, they had them together, and this was the future of the show. This is how you get another season. Like, people are connected to it, people love it, and then I feel as though they just literally like lit it on fire in this episode and like burned it down for like it came out of nowhere. Like, we've always been led to believe like Gigi and Dani, like it literally would have been like if Bette and Tina in season 2 of the original, they were just like, oh, never mind, and like Bette just like went and like moved on with some. It just, I don't know, I really feel as though it was like a spit in the face moment for like, and because I've liked Dani and Gigi since before they were a thing. In season 1 and 2, like the hiatus before they even started filming season 2, I was like, you should put Dani and Gigi together because, well, like my explanation then was they were like both hot, but then when I, you know, so
I think we started the hashtag way back then, Ginny.
Yeah, because I actually used to call them Diggy back then.
That's right, you did.
Yeah. And go back, they're all still live on my channel of me talking about it, and I was so happy when they put them together, and I think that they were great together, and they just like wrecked it for like no reason.
This is the moment I think that Gen Q has officially jumped the shark. This is the moment.
The moment was at the end where with the oranges.
See, I completely disagree because I don't see them like blowing it up in this episode. Like, they actually lit the fire 2 episodes ago with the first episode of the season. Like, it's been burning this entire time. And at this point, I'm like, good riddance. Bye-bye, Gigi and Dani. Because, like, we find out here, like, okay, I said, like, they banter really well, right? They're on the couch. They're being all cute together. But I did kind of briefly wonder, like, but do they fight really well, too? Like, is that why they broke up, you know? But then they reveal they've been together since they were 18. So I'm like, they have more history than Bette and Tina. They are Bette and Tina. They're exactly Bette and Tina. They're Bette and Tina 2.0. But like, Dani and Gigi are not Bette and Tina. Gigi and Nat are Bette and Tina. And they're just putting them back together. Like they're supposed to be, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I could get behind if in season 1, like say the season 1 happened the way it happened completely, and you know, I think it was the last episode, the last episode 8 of season 1, where Gigi, Nat, and Alice have that like awkward lunch, and then at the end, Nat goes to Alice's talk show and like has that reunion with her. If that reunion never happened and Nat and Gigi stayed together, then I'd be like, cool. Like, I like Nat, I like Gigi. No worries. But it's the fact that this whole Dani thing started, was amazing, got people on board, got people connected, and I just don't understand why they're doing it. And I know that there is like other stuff that have factored into it, but it just seems so it seems like they're just throwing away literally the best actor on the show and the best character.
They are, but we also know why they are.
Yeah, I guess I'm just frustrated with
gone. She's off the show, so they had to write something. Yeah, well, I preferred last season. Like, I preferred where they were going with Gigi and Dani, because like I said, it made me like Dani for the first time. The writers kind of did the same thing here. It made me like Nat for the first time, where I never did before. And maybe it's just, I know Gigi's that powerful, but like I never liked her. I never liked the two of them together before. But I don't know, it worked here. But that being said, I will say that like whatever problems they had are still there. I mean, just because you feel like Nat and the kids are like, you know, your family, and maybe you feel like that's your end game or whatever.
We don't even know if Nat is single. I said, we don't even know if Nat is single at this point. She could be dating like 5 people right now.
Right. And like whatever problems caused your marriage to end in the first place, you haven't addressed those. And those still exist. And if part of those is the like pansexual, wait, is it pansexual or
polyamory?
Thank you. I always mix those up. Yes. Like if you're polyamorous and you want to be in a relationship, like your ideal relationship is with more than one person, then this still is not going to work. So
yeah,
I don't know if they're just...
We will never find out now because they're gone forever into the timeline black hole.
Glossing over that again, yeah.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're recording this on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. UK time, Australia Saturday afternoon, and US Friday 1 in the morning. So there has no official press release that's come out yet, but I would be surprised if there wasn't one on Sunday evening when the episode technically airs, the same way that I was expecting one last week for Jennifer Beals, and that's what we got. I just don't think it's... I mean, I think they've tried to leave it up in the air, because even when I was on set, that was probably the biggest thing that I found out on set was, and it actually was because somebody said it in front of me and they didn't realize that I didn't know, because when I went into... They had this like whole big wardrobe thing, and they were shooting episodes 9 and 10 when I was there. So pretty much all the costumes were spoilers because of the event in episode 9 and 10. And so they took me into like this bit that had like all the season 2 stuff, and they were like, oh, this is where like all Tina's clothes and like jewelry, and it's like a W they were showing me, so we're like walking up and down, and then they were like, oh, this is the other side, and this is where we put all the characters who've left us, like Gigi. And I was like, massive shock on my face, because
I bet you were trying to keep it together, like you were stay cool.
I know, because at that stage all I knew was that she wasn't going to be in it as much. Like, I didn't know that she was leaving, And Marja's assistant, Monica, who is super, super awesome and nice and so good to me, she obviously straight away, she was like, shit. It's like, this is the worst thing you could say in front of the worst person. And I didn't say anything because I also, like, I didn't want the costume woman to, like, feel bad, and there was, like, other people with us too because they were filming me. And then when we went outside,
I want to see that footage now of your face.
Yeah, it was just I know, it was just Monica and I, and straight away I was like, so what's going on with Gigi? And Monica was like, and I was like, and she's like, we didn't kill her. We did. So like immediately when she said we didn't kill her, I was like, Jesus, this must be bad, because if that's what you're leading with, Jesus. So then that was September, the beginning of September. And so I knew that then, and I kind of sat on it for like a week, and I did like a little bit of digging. And then that's when I was able to put things more together with this interview that Seppi did, where I thought originally it was the writer like attributing something. And they had said she's just finished rapping the L word, and it was when they were filming this episode. So I was able to put the timeline together then, and like with this other information, I then deduced that she was leaving after episode 3, and that's when I started saying that that's what I thought was going to happen. I didn't have any I didn't know for a fact for another couple of weeks, and then I spoke to someone I spoke to a couple of people who've only ever given me correct information that are quite senior. And I asked them about this. I asked them about Jennifer, and I asked them a couple of other things, and they confirmed all of that. So that's whenever, I said like, oh, she's leaving. And I know they left it kind of up in the air, which we'll talk about more in a minute, but I just don't see how you come back from this as an act. Like, the actor obviously really believed in the character, in the representation, in the couple, so to do this probably leaves a bad taste. And then I don't know how you come back from that with the fans, because like, what are they gonna do? Like, Gigi would never, I just can't imagine how you would even bring her back unless she just like randomly popped up, because
if you did another 1 year time jump,
we know that she's not going to go to like, I don't know, Bette and Tina's wedding, or like Alice and Tom's something, or like how would she fit in, because Gigi's always kind of existed.
Yeah, she's not connected to anyone.
Yeah, so disappointing to say the least, because again, I'll talk about it more in a minute, but what a loss.
The Shane and Ivy sex scene was pretty hot, I have to say.
I'm gonna be like that, like sad, like I'm like lesbian, because, and I know I'm probably in the minority, but I don't really like gratuitous ones like that, because to me, like there has to be like some sort of connection there for me. Like, I have to be watching, like, that's why I think like the Bette and Tina or like the Dani and Gigi ones are really good. Like, I would rather watch those people kiss each other than like the Shane and Kehlani.
So you got it confused. But also, I think maybe the same person that lit Bette and Tina scenes have lit the same scene, because couldn't see anything. It was like dark. And not only that, they were like, let's put them in a dark room with just blue light. I was like, I can't see shit.
No, I couldn't make a thumbnail. So this is my request going out to Showtime, Marja, writers of the show, anyone's executive producers, all associated with the L word, anyone. I will come to the set and I will work on the timeline, and I'll do your continuity.
And you'll also stand there with a little torch.
And I will also bring all of my lights. Look at my lighting. I am a lunatic in a spare bedroom with a cat, and I am lit better than you.
Oh my gosh.
Let me back on that set. Let me back on that set.
I feel like they've banned you from life for life now.
Yeah. I
They're like, shit, we gave away pretty much everything from the season. Ash found out in like the 2 seconds she was on set.
They have a totally different drinking game. It's like every time they say something bad about us, take a shot.
So yeah, I will come, bring the timeline, continuity, and light. All for free.
Yep, and you can probably also write some of it too.
That's my offer to you. I also will bring my analytics, which will have 1 million people's L-word people's thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is a hell of an offer. You have 2 days.
It's only $9.95. All this can be yours if you call now.
Let me know. Let me know. My Instagram DMs are open. My email is open. I'm always available, and I'll be on the next flight out. Just say the word.
I was basically yelling at the screen in this scene, like, "No, Shane, don't do it!" Bad Shane.
Yes.
Shane even takes a moment before going through the door, like you have a chance to back out.
I'm like,
And she's like, "No, fuck that!" Like,
yeah. I had one fight, so therefore I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
How does she continually justify cheating?
Because she had one fight. Totally thought Tess was going to bust in on them, but
well, they
Tess is suddenly
episodes now.
Yeah, the Tess can suddenly come to the show when she wasn't supposed to be. I was like, ugh.
The only thing that I'll say about Tess's mom, I said this in my review yesterday, was that I just don't know why we're doing this on the L word. Because it's the L word, like it's the whole thing about like lesbians and bi women and women loving women and whatever else, like doing dementia storylines and other ones like that. Like if we're gonna have angles like this, like I want to see Bette's mom. Like Bette I've known for 20 years, I'm invested, and I don't know shit about her, or I don't know shit about Tina. So
does she have a family? Was she like
no,
sprung
she just
from a pod? I mean,
oh, did you not watch the deleted interrogation scene from season 6 that said that Tina's mom died when she was in college? That was the only backstory that we ever got for Tina, was this awful one in the interrogation tapes. If you don't know what the interrogation tapes are, stay in ignorance is bliss. Do not
Google interrogation tapes.
Do not. I did a video about them like 2 days ago. But like, why didn't I get to see the Bette's mom stuff? Why am I getting to see Tess's mom? It's just
see that too, and I'm not even a fan.
So yeah, it was a sweet scene, but honestly,
zero connection.
Tess's mom worked better when she was off screen. Like,
yeah,
I was fine as a plot device for like Shane and Tessa's relationship and like why or why not they can't be together when she was dealing with a mom that was like off screen, and then now that she's here, it's like first we kind of skipped over the Carrie running to the restroom and getting in the face,
the bloody nose, and the she's the man like tampon in the nose.
Yeah, she's the man. Yeah, God, what a flashback.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about them being set up as a couple.
I like it.
No, I like them separately. I just don't know how I feel about them together.
She's the Tina Carrie needs.
But it's weird because without Bette and Tina in the episode, it just feels like they're like stretching things out that we normally wouldn't see. Like, like Gigi and Nat and stuff felt like it went for a really long time, considering normally it would have just been like a 2-second scene if Bette and Tina were in the episodes too.
I did not miss them at all.
No, I didn't miss them either. No, I forgot they were even in the show.
I missed them greatly.
I didn't miss them at all. I was like, oh wow, that episode was great. Like I flowed really well.
Yeah,
like,
it was really great.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I just felt like it was like
there was a big absence, and there was like no absence whatsoever.
No.
Blasphemy.
I didn't expect Bette to like. I didn't even like when Alice and Shane and stuff are like together at Alice's 100th episode. I wasn't like waiting for Bette to walk in or anything.
No,
like,
me neither,
I never even thought about her. Not once.
No, I didn't either. But the only thing that made me notice their absence was that these scenes that we normally wouldn't see felt like they were stretched out thinner. Like I liked those scenes, but that's what made me notice. Where it was almost like they were like, oh, we still need to fill 5 minutes. Put in a dance sequence with like Shane and Finley, or insert this here.
I miss them so much. so much. Every time a scene started and they weren't there, it was like, where are they? They're in Toronto without me. I miss them.
Wait, we skipped over the whole Alice. We skipped over the whole Alice and the dating thing, which was so cute. I liked it.
It was great. It was perfect to get Margaret Cho there.
Yep.
Good casting for Joey Lauren Adams also.
Yep. But I was thinking, I was like, the second she spoke, wouldn't you just be like, I just heard your voice like 2 seconds ago?
and I was actually like not knowing how the scene would play out. I was like, oh, that's why they picked an actress with such a distinctive voice, because Alice will know it's her immediately. And then she doesn't. She's like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know, you literally just took your coffee from her like a second ago. I like how awkward she is.
Yes.
So the setup was really cute.
Yeah. On the stage when like they finish and she picks the winner and you have the 3 of them standing there, it's like Margaret Cho and Alicia Haley and Joey Lauren Adams, and I'm like, I want to take a screenshot. It was like 3 iconic bisexuals like on stage. Well, I guess Alicia's not bisexual in real life. When Alice tries to reassure her by saying that like, oh, I was you, like I was not famous and dated a famous person.
I was not famous once.
Okay, so L Word Historian, who in the show did she date that was famous? Or is that like a reference to her real life? Because
Dana.
Oh yeah, Dana.
Oh,
Dana's that wasn't even L Word Historian. That was somebody watched the show.
I don't ever think of Dana as being famous. I was like,
because we didn't see her play tennis that much.
Supposedly a famous tennis player. Like,
yeah,
she played like twice and not well, but
yeah.
Remember Subaru? Get out and stay out.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that Dana was like, supposedly, a famous person.
Yeah, because remember, what was that, the other chick's name that dated Dana, and she was like, I can't believe I'm going down on Dana Fairbanks.
Tanya. Boo. Boo.
All I can think about, I'm like, is she talking about when she dated Katie Lang?
Oh yeah.
In real life.
No, I couldn't think of any like from the show. I'm like, is this like a random one that they just like mentioned like one off? Sorry, Dana, rest in peace. We love you. I knew you'd have an answer for me. I didn't think it would be that obvious.
All right, we all caught up now. The only thing left is Dani and Gigi's demise.
You kind of mentioned this earlier about them living together, which, they weren't as far as we knew. And then...
Well, 5 days has passed, and a lot happens in 5 days. They could have moved in 5 days.
3 months. 3 months happened in 5 days.
3 months and 5 days.
Yeah, the actual, like, breakup scene. At first I thought, oh, like, good on Dani for confronting her, not letting her just go off with Nat when she's having these feelings that, like, something's not right. So, like, I was proud of her for doing that. And then I was like, okay, good on Gigi for being honest. Because you always see people just like, oh, deny it, you know?
Well, she did. She said it's nothing at first.
She did. But then, like, right after that, she was like, okay, here's the deal. And, she was honest about her feelings and being confused. And then, I thought it said something when, like, you don't try to fight for her.
Yeah, she was like, okay, we're done. I was like, really? That's it? Like, just like that? It's like, you're not going to talk about it? You're not going to, like, go home and chat? Like, nothing? And to know that, like, that's the end of her scenes, that's, like, so sad.
Yeah, that's the thing that I had probably the biggest issue with, was that it really felt as though they just were like, oh, so you like this? Well, too bad. And just, like, torch the whole thing. Because now, like, even like looking back on those episodes, and knowing how it's gonna end, like, I feel like Gen Q was like throwing those oranges at me, because
I saw that meme that you did.
Oh yeah, they just were like, everything about it, I feel like they were trying to take away from the Dani and Gigi thing, because in episode 7 last season, when they first got together and kissed, and Dani's like, is this real? Like, they saw that went down well and connected with people, and they basically like took it and like made it into a Bette and Tina thing, last episode, where they were like, is this real? And Tina was like, oh yeah, it's really real. But I don't know. I know that there's other factors affecting this. I know it's somebody hasn't walked on set and said, hey, you know what we're gonna do today? We're gonna break up Dani and Gigi and get rid of Gigi. There are other factors. I accept that. But I just, when looking at it just on the surface of the show, to me, this is the worst thing that could happen to Gen Q, because one, Seppi is the new part of the show. She is the perfectly cast person. She's the charisma, she's the chemistry, she's the talent. Like, she has it all, and she has that capability to carry the show, to lead the show, that I don't think anyone else outside of Leisha, who, you know, she's an OG, she's not a Gen Q. I don't think there's anyone else that has that Gen Q ability anywhere close to Seppi. And Dani and Gigi, I don't think there's anyone. I know that there's always outliers, but when I'm speaking, like saying everyone and blah blah blah, I'm also looking at like what a million people are doing on my channel. Our podcast is a perfect example, because I don't really talk about every scene, but you can literally see people skipping over like Sophie and Finley. You can see people just going to the Dani and Gigi bits the same way that they go to the Bette and Tina stuff. And so I just feel as though this week will have been so difficult because last week you get Bette and Tina back after such a long time, and everybody was really happy by that. But then it was kind of, you know, this news that Jennifer Beals and Laura Holloman aren't going to be in as many episodes. And then to move into this week where then they take Dani and Gigi away, which was like some people's, you know, that's what they were looking forward to. And then for Seppi to go too, and to have her last scene be literally like Dani throwing fucking oranges at the car. Seppi's an amazing actress, but I don't think she will have had to dig too deep for those tears, because I mean, she obviously she was a fan of the show. She loved the character. She loved what it represents. To end it like this, like, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Plus the oranges I thought was so melodramatic. They weren't necessary. She could have just ran out and yelled at them. Like, it was just really weird that she threw oranges at her. But it was funny when Nat was like, I paid $20 for that. And then it wasn't until she was like, I just wanted to give our ex like some oranges. Yes. I was like, oh yeah, I've totally forgotten that they were like a thing.
I think it would have been harder to take if I hadn't known that this was Gigi's last episode. So it's like I was already prepared for it. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that Gigi had a ton of screen time, especially after the first 2 episodes where it was like seconds. I thought there'd be hardly anything. I thought they would just like, you know, brush her under the rug. And so the fact that she got an entire episode and had a lot of scenes, I was happy.
Key difference in episode 3 for that reasoning.
Well, I don't like that Dani's already rewriting the story. She tells Sophie like that, you know, she's like, Gigi's run off with that, which she didn't do that.
You broke up with her.
Yeah, you broke up with her.
Yeah, and showed your immaturity again by throwing one.
Yeah, because then when they get to Sophie and Finley's at the end, Sophie's like, oh yeah, Gigi broke up with Dani. It's like, again, no, that's not what happened.
Well, yeah, because she says like, oh, just someone else I wanted to marry who ran off with someone else.
Yeah, but then when they arrive at Finley's, she's like, Sophie's hugging Finley, and she's like, oh, Gigi broke up with Dani.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what happened.
Honestly, Gigi spent the entire episode like trying to work out, trying to communicate in some way like her feelings and try to figure things out. I mean, she was asking Nat, like prodding her over and over again, like, does this mean anything? You know, like,
yeah, she just needed to talk it through. Like,
yeah, you need some time and space. It doesn't mean like it's over.
Yeah, but it's the Dani cut and run reflex again.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to get hurt, so she's just like, what? No, this is going to end badly. Bye.
Also, I feel like so they torched the place, torched Dani and Gigi, and then right at the end where I'm like lying on the side of the road, dead, my body burning. They just came in and just like twisted the knife and kicked a bit of dirt in my face when they put me back in that depressing bungalow, because I was like, to take away from Dani and Gigi and then to be like, here we go, this is what we're getting in the depressing bungalow with people that I just like, I do not feel anything really. I like Finley, I like Jack, I'm like Dani, but like I just don't have, like with the four of them, I just don't feel that like connection that I have to the OGs or anyone like that. And I just at the end was like, I miss Bette, Tina and Gigi.
Well, it wasn't until Micah walked through the door that I was like, oh yeah, Micah.
I said the same thing. I wrote down that exact. I wrote down, oh yeah, Micah. Forgot all about him.
That's terrible. That's supposed to be a lead of the show.
But then when the Finley Sophie romantic dinner turns into like, oh, and Dani's here. Figured I'd kiss in your hallway for a change. And then Mike is like, oh, it's not romantic anymore. I'll join you too. And then I'm like, oh, the four of them. We've been waiting like 2.5 years to see this.
Yes. But I also, just a side note, I'm really glad that Dani and Finley have like made up. That was cute. Because she's like, I'm gonna hug you now. She's like, don't.
Yeah.
But I wrote down that the new characters are finally back together at the end is finally giving me the Friends vibes that I've been wanting the whole time.
Yes, thank you. The four of them together. That's what we've been missing.
Yeah. I mean,
I haven't been missing it. I'm missing Bette, Tina, and Gigi.
But I feel like the only thing that makes them good, like the whole point, was to have them together. Like,
yeah,
this is a friend
they
group.
were a
And
unit.
like, they were introduced as a friend group and then broken up almost immediately, and you never saw them together again.
Yeah, so that part was pleasant to end it like that. It was quite upbeat.
Because it's supposed to be like a parallel to the OGs, you know? Like, they're supposed to be a group.
I don't know. I just don't feel that way about them, even though they keep telling me that, like, they're friends and they're a group. I just don't feel like they are. Like, I feel like they're just like...
Well, that's because they've only told us that. They've never showed us that.
Yeah, they've never shown them together, except for at the beginning.
But also, like, any time that it... I don't know. I just have a hard time. You know, I love the show. You know, I love it, and I talk about it, and I'm happy about it. But yesterday, when I got up at 3:30 to watch the episode, I wasn't like excited because I knew what was going to happen. And now next week, I'm like, I don't have that same feeling about the show, because I don't like Dani, Sophie, Finley, and Micah. They haven't earned that. Like, I just feel as though they're just people on it. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's just not the same.
Channel's gonna be shut down.
Yeah,
Twitter is taken offline.
I'd be interested to see the ratings and stuff, because let me tell you, nobody cared about this. Like, on my numbers alone, which usually reflect, like, obviously if the episode does good and people do happy, my channel does good. If the episode does bad, my channel does bad. Like, it's an L-word channel. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what happens, because I feel as though the people that were maybe hanging on, if Bette and Tina weren't there, then I think they might lose some for Dani and Gigi. But the thing is, maybe they'll get some other people that just want the Gen Q people. It will be interesting to look at on social media and stuff, because there is some people that tell me like, oh, I just want like the Gen Q people, and you know, oh, make way for the new people. But every time I see that, or somebody says that to me in the comments, there's just nothing that backs those numbers up. Like, when people say, and people do get carried away. People say like, oh, the numbers will skyrocket when Bette and Tina get back together. Like, they increase a little bit. Like, they're not, you know, it's not like millions of people start tuning in, but the numbers do better when my whole channel launched, because Tina came back. Like, that, the episodes that Laurel Holloman's in are the best rated episodes, and they are the episodes that people are more online and also just like watching more reviews, watching more scenes, asking for commentary. But things like this, like these episodes, I just, it's like some people will watch them and be fine with it, but they're not seeking out that additional information, commentary, podcast, whatever it is. So I just don't think that there is this massive audience that wants the Gen Q people to have their friendship and all that, because my understanding of the numbers is that most of the people watching Generation Q are watching for Bette, Tina, Alice, Shane, Dani, and Gigi. But I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, but it's after literally 2 years of doing this and incessantly talking about it and looking at the numbers, that's the conclusion that I've drawn. And it's early days, obviously, but based on what I've seen over the last 24 hours, it's just confirming what I already know, because most of the content is doing very, very poorly. And the only sort of anything that I see in regards to specific episode things is an incredible amount of very negative social media posts. So I don't think that it ever needs to get personal with this sort of thing. I think that everybody's entitled to their opinions, views. All criticism is valid. It's art. Like, that's what we're discussing, and that's what work is subjected to in a public forum like this. But I do not like the personal attacks and things like that. So that's just thrown in there at the end. But I don't know, it's going to be interesting, and I would probably be dialing back content until episodes 9 and 10 if this continues, because why would it doesn't make sense to make like tons and tons of content around stuff that people aren't watching, or if they're watching, they're kind of like, okay, I've watched it, like they don't really feel the need to go beyond that.
I don't really care about any of the Gen Qers except for Finley.
Yeah.
Honestly, the others I'm like, eh. But the very last thing I wrote down is, didn't miss Bette and Tina at all. Double underline, triple exclamation point. And it wasn't a dig on Bette and Tina. It was honestly like a relief thing.
Yeah, it felt, how it was work out, and I was like, it flowed so much better.
I was like, relief. Oh, what a relief. I didn't miss them at all. Like, it didn't impact my enjoyment of the show one iota, and it actually worked really well.
I missed them a lot.
Being like originally. No, I just remember it being very, very heavy on Jenny and Bette and Tina, and we always only got glimpses of Shane and Alice, which were our favorites. We were always hanging on
Hamilton all over again, and it was wrong.
Yeah, because we were hanging on for every little second of what we could get for Shane and Alice, and then now it's like, oh, we've got all this time for them. It's going to be great.
Yes.
We're very exciid.
I agree, as long as it's Shane.
We're going to switch places. I'm going to be the one that's like, I hated it.
Well, this was my favoriteest episode ever.
Be the new, like,
oh my God.
Episode ever.
Best episode ever.
No. This was not. This is the first time I'm going to say that, probably. This was not my favorite episode.
I was very happy with the last episode. Like, I was very happy with the Bette and Tina stuff from episode 2. But it felt like, oh, good. That's concluded now. Let's move on.
Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks. Bye.
Yes. They got their happy ever after,
Yep.
They're happy for now. Whatever.
I know.
Let's move on.
I wouldn't even need a wedding. I'd just be like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, they ran off into the sunset together. That's good.
Well, they're coming back for 9 and 10, so you have to listen to me then. It's going to be interesting filming 10 because I'll be in LA for when 10 comes out.
Well, we should do drinks at Dana's while you're at Dana's.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It'd be like the worst episode ever. It's like it's being there like this.
What?
I know. I am probably going to do something when I go for the final watch party. So
a house divided.
A podcast divided. Out of 10,
about an 8.
Jesus.
Because -2 for the whole Dani and Gigi thing. Otherwise, it was good.
Oh man, that's hard. Yeah, I'd say 8.5, but yeah, the Shane.
Oh my God.
The Shane cheating takes it down a little bit. The Shane and Ivy, I'm not down with, but we got like buff, sweaty Shane slow-mo swinging a hammer.
Yeah.
We got like funny bits. We got back to the studio. We got like Alice and Sophie do actually have a job that they go to every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to see that. We got some
Carrie and
awesome
Finley, new
Gigi
duo.
made me like another character again that I thought was terrible before. So yeah, it was good for me.
No,
I could have done without. I could have eliminated the Angie at college scene. Happily, and I could have happily eliminated the Shane and Ivy scenes, and then it would have been perfect.
So I mean, still better than like a lot of TV, because obviously it's the L Word, but God, I think like a 5 out of 10 for me.
Ooh, that's harsh from Ash.
I like the Alice stuff. I like the Alice show stuff, and I liked seeing Dani, Gigi, Nat, but like I didn't like what they did in those scenes. So
I get that. I'm just sort of like resigned to like, oh, that's how it is. It's not going to change. So
yeah,
it sucks, but at least knowing that it was going to end one way or another, I liked the way that it was written. Like at least we got some actual content.
This maybe is real harsh, and I know that some people won't agree with this, and I know that this would change the whole like dynamic of the show, but in a way maybe they just should have killed Gigi off, because then that would have like stabilized the, like, then you wouldn't be like diminishing the relationship, but then like obviously that would like completely decimate Dani, and it like like next week she's going out and getting pissed with her friend from school for Halloween because she's been dumped. So you know what I mean, like it would change the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm super interested to read the comments on this one. I'm sure that they'll be all over the place, so make sure to let us know your thoughts. If you're watching this on YouTube, my comments are always open, and we'll be back next week for the Halloween episode, which marks the first holiday calendar event in the L Word, which I'm sure will continue to spiral in the L Word timeline and cause us even more issues. But thank you so much for listening, as always, and you know that you can follow us on Instagram. Chris and Jess's and the L Word Online is in the show notes along with mine, and if you want to watch the video version of this, it's on my YouTube channel. It comes out every week at the same time. And as always, make sure to stay safe and have a good week. We'll see you back here next week for episode 4, Last to Know. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.